Hey, good evening. It is E. Davis, CEO of Writer's Block Publishing, LLC. I am coming to you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It is Saturday, April 27th, 2019. It is a late recording for me because I wanted to post about Of Mice and Men. I believe it was on April 6th. I can't remember the date, but the first Saturday in April. Unfortunately, I was under the weather for about 3 weeks. I had a bad case of between allergies and a head cold. It was up and down, but both with the season breaking in Pittsburgh. But I wanted to discuss to celebrate Autism Awareness Month. I believe April 2nd was Autism Awareness Day, if not April 1st. I do apologize for the inaccuracy of the dates. However, the story that we want to talk about is Of Mice and Men. First, please subscribe to my channel. I am CEO of Writer's Block Publishing, LLC. We are a publishing platform that helps promote independent authors to be successful and to merge forward as independent authors. You can find us on Twitter at Block Publish. You can find us on Instagram at Writer's Block Publishing, LLC. Facebook under the same name, Writer's Block Publishing, LLC. And you can even send me an email at writersblockpub@yahoo.com. And also check out the blogs on writersblock84 writersblock.1984.com with WordPress. So I'll get that address perfect for you. I'm so bad with the addresses. But I just want to talk to you about this book. I read this book. I read it a few years ago, and from my understanding then, George and Lenny were brothers. But when I read it again, they were just friends. They were friends. Their family were friends, and George kind of took a liking to Lenny and wanted to protect him. Lenny shows signs of mental disability. That's the right word. He was mentally disabled. That's a better word for it. They never gave the specific of his mental disability. I don't want to say that he was special needs. So with respects to Autism Awareness Month, with respects to those who have mental disabilities, this book is dedicated to you because I do know how crippling that can be. I do know that it can be a disadvantage when you are well within your equal rights, as a human being to live and be productive in society, and how ignorant society can be because you are slower mentally. It may take you a little bit longer to catch up, to comprehend. So this book I dedicate this book to you. It's not mine to dedicate, but it taught me a lot. Now, my husband, his two brothers are special needs. There's Garrett and Gabriel. Both are amazing and beautiful men. Garrett more so than Gabriel, but both of them are actually intelligent, and both of them will surprise you with their intelligence and know-how. So again, this recording is dedicated to them. This book kind of shook me a little bit because it took place during the Great Depression. These two guys, Lenny and George, they're setting off to work. They were working on a ranch. Of course, they needed to work, and they came across some characters. So I wrote everything down on my computer, so bear with me if I'm going back and forth. I have to write things down, or else I'll forget. But the boss's son, who's known as Curly, he's kind of a nasty fellow. He has Napoleon syndrome, where he's a short guy that wants to prove himself, and he always picks on the bigger man. Lenny, who is the one with the mental disability, his character, of course, is super strong, doesn't really understand his own strength. He has a fascination with rabbits and soft things, and of course with the rabbits, he's constantly petting them, constantly hugging and snuggling, where he accidentally kills them. And George just want to keep an eye on him. He kind of just says, just don't talk to anybody, don't do anything, because you can cost us this job. You can cost us our livelihood. So, with Curly's Napoleon complex, of course, he is pinning on Lenny. He wants to challenge Lenny. That Napoleon complex is very, very dangerous because sometimes short people are very strong. They're very destructive. But when you already have an issue, you kind of do what you need to do to kill and destroy. And that's not a good thing. Because that complex, you just feel the need to prove your worth. Well, you don't have to. You really don't have to. The next characters is Crooks. He's a stable, what they call a stable buck. He's a black man that kind of works in stable. He's kind of bitter. Of course, this is during the days of segregation, a lot of prejudice, a lot of racism. And because Curly is as nasty as he is, he just kind of keeps that guy in the stables where he really has no life. And that's kind of bad. Candy is a gentleman that is pull up my notes. Candy is an aging ranch handyman. He lost his hand in an accident and worries about the future on the ranch. Fearing that his age is making him kind of a liability. He kind of networks with George to kind of secure his position, even try to get some land, because now he's at the age where nobody will use him. Next is Slim. He is the main driver. He drives the mule. Slim he's definitely respected between the men, and he's actually the only one character that Curly respects. It's kind of sad. There is Curly's wife, little Miss Hot to Trot, who flirts a lot with other men. And because she flirts a lot with other men, Curly keeps her in the house. Doesn't really let her talk to her. Curly definitely has a jealousy issue with, and that's Napoleon. It's complex. There is also Wit. He's another ranch hand. So all these characters kind of interact with each other, and it's George's concept to keep them not really fixated on Lenny, where it can cost Lenny and George their job, but kind of in an overprotectiveness of saying, don't talk to him. If you have any questions, you can talk to me. I'll handle Lenny. One of the common themes of this book is loneliness. Lenny is lonely because because he's special needs. Nobody really deals with him. George is lonely. His only confidant really is Lenny, and because Lenny has special needs, George really can't talk to Lenny. Of course, there's Curly, a Napoleon syndrome. He doesn't have any friends because his issues are pushing people away or being intimidated, so intimidated that he's nasty to people that are taller than him. And then there's Curly's wife. Because of his jealousy, his insecurity, he treats her bad, and she feels the need to flirt to get the attention. So it's kind of crazy. Now, I don't want to give the book away if you haven't read it, but it is a good book. It's by John Steinbeck. He is one of the legends when it comes to American literature. Of course, it deals with the American dream, and with the American dream is to have everything you want in the pursuit of happiness. So you don't have to be rich, such as on billionaire status, to obtain the American dream. You can work at McDonald's and be happy, and your bills are paid and live in the dream. The concept of the American dream is to actually have a job, make money, and be successful. And your successful doesn't necessarily have to be successful in a monetary, but it can be successful on the emotional and inside. I did not like this book only because it was emotional, and maybe because my brother-in-laws are special needs and I can understand where they're lonely. I didn't like the book because of the fact that Curly was just so nasty. Maybe I'm all about the heroes, where there's a redeeming value in everybody. Everybody comes to a place in their life. The character comes to a place in their life where they understand what their issues were, and they're making the emotional transition to be a better person. Maybe that's me. But I wasn't a fan of this book. It is a great book, though. Kind of a contradiction. It is a great book because of the fact that it's John Steinbeck. All of his books are great. But I didn't like it. I didn't like the story. I wish there was kind of a better I don't want to say a happy ending because I don't want to give the book away if you have not read it. But I just wish that there was just another way of ending things. I'm a writer who doesn't have words to say. But nevertheless, this is a tribute to Autism Awareness Month. 9 times out of 10, when someone in your family or your friends do have special needs, whether it's Down syndrome, autism, Asperger's disease, whatever the issue that keeps them mentally from keeping up with anyone else, they have a hard time communicating what their needs and desires are. And we need to take the time and listen to what they're trying to say. I've just found out literally in March that 2 of my cousins are special needs. They have ADHD and they have Asperger's disease, and they're siblings. Now, they act so well, bad choice of words, they are so productive in society. I never knew that, and they're members of my family. Never knew it. My cousin, their mother, told me about it, and it floored me because I don't want to say because they act normal. It's just because they are so productive that nobody would know. And that's the key. The key is people with ADHD, people with autism are normal people. They have wants and desires just like everybody else. And when we treat them as if they can't do anything or they're limited, that hinders them, and that can they have every right to be angry. They have every right to lash out. And there may be some type of vice fixation that they cater to that can help them process their thoughts, such as Lenny touching the animals, the rabbits. He had this thing for rabbits, and he would break their neck. Even mice, he would break their neck. They may have something that they connect to. We all do, even the normal people. Carrie Bradshaw, the character from Sex and the City, she had her shoes. One of my things that I connect to is jewelry. I'm a jewelry junkie. You can call me Liz Taylor because one day I want like a big old house full of jewels. But that's just something that I connect to that kind of makes me feel better. Even my writing, I can pour out my thoughts in my words. I can write out my thoughts, but speaking my thoughts, I kind of stumble with saying the right thing. But when you write out your thoughts, you can grab that thesaurus, or you can kind of Google how to say a certain word so you sound more eloquent. But everybody has that vice. And I may not be able to articulate the way I want to articulate. And it's not because I have a mental illness. I'm not in a mental illness or I'm mentally disabled. It's just because I'm a goober. So it's kind of hard for me to relay it verbally than it is to write it out. So it is what it is. But I did like the book on the level of, because John Steinbeck did rapture me up into the book. He did have me in the moment. And because it was taking place during racism and prejudice and segregation, had a little bit bite in me. But that's just how it was back in the day. So I'm not angry, but it definitely made me feel some kind of way. So John Steinbeck, kudos to you for this awesome book. It was not one of my favorite books, though, but kudos to you. So next month is May. And, of course, May, we're celebrating Mother's Day. I'm a mother. I have a 19-year-old, and she's the apple of my eye. We're going to be talking about some crazy mamas, okay? Mommy Dearest. Mommy Dearest, Christina Crawford wrote the tell-all book, which was one of the first celebrity tell-all books because, of course, if you've seen the movie, I know she told it all. We're going to be talking about the divine secrets of the Yaya sisterhood, about the mother and daughter relationship between Vivian and Sita. That was also a movie starring the amazing Sandra Bullock and discussing some other writing techniques. So please, please, please like my channel. Join me tomorrow. Join me next week. I promise y'all get it together. And again, I apologize for the lack of videos. It's been a rough few weeks, but I'm back. I'm ready to get moving. So you guys take care. Have a great Saturday.